Well, hi, this is Eric Stromquist. As a teacher of mine once said, correct theory plus effort equals profound results. And I don't think there's anybody in our industry that doesn't work really, really hard. And as Ken Smyers and I talk a lot about on Control Talk now, the differentiator now seems to be who can communicate the best, which kind of gets down to sales. So if you think about it, if you don't have a great product, like we said on the show before, you're not in the conversation. If you don't have great technical support and great pricing, you're not even in the game. So there's lots and lots and lots of people that are in the game right now. So the differentiator, Ken and I think, is the communication and the relationships, which gets back to sales. So what I'd like to do in a series of videos is sort of talk a little bit about the theories that we use at Stromquist and Company. I've studied a lot over the years. I've been in the industry about 37 years now and realized early on that sales and communication was really going to be my role in the company. So I've studied with every sales trainer I could find. I've studied with hypnotists. I've studied other than conscious or subconscious communication. And there's some things that work out really, really well that if you think about them this way can maybe help. So let's start with what a sale is. So a sale is not you getting somebody to do something. I mean, think about it for a minute. I mean, how many times have you purchased something and gone and told all your friends, let me tell you, this person sold me. No, 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 no. We don't like to be sold anything. We love to buy. So the first question I want you to begin to ponder is, what is the difference between selling somebody something and helping them purchase or buy something? Okay, so let's delve into the realm of linguistics, or the study of words, because words are used in communication, although the words we speak only constitute 7% of the communication process and the last 7% of the communication process. So if you guys like this, we can sort of get into that other 93% and how you can be effective with that as well. But for today, we want to focus on the 7% or the words. So let's get back to linguistics for a second. And with linguistics, there are only 4 linguistic events, only 4. Every utterance out of your mouth is one of these 4. The first have to do with quality of life, which is assertion and declaration. And we're not going to talk about that today, although that can be important as well. The second 2 have to do with action, or things getting done, which is request and promise. So a request is making a request, just like it sounds, of someone that they can do, okay? So if I request my 2-year-old Axel to drive the car, he's incapable of doing that, so it's an unreasonable request. So a request has to be something that they can do, and there has to be a time on it. So if I say, I request you hand me a book, and I don't put a time period on it, then you could say, sure, and in your mind, you could be thinking, I'll give them the book in a week, where in my mind, I'm thinking, I want it right now. So there always has to be a time on it. I request you hand me the book now, okay? Now, the promise part of request, there are only 3 things that can happen with that. One is yes, which is a promise you will, no, which is a promise you won't, or you can make a counteroffer. Hey, Eric, I won't pass you the book now, but I'll pass you the book in 5 minutes. So if you think about sales, at the end of the day, sales gets down to making a request, okay? And when I first got into business, and there's some people that are still like this, I mean, it was all about controlling the other person and using your questions or whatever to get them to do something. You were in control, you were driving the boat, and it was very manipulative, very power-based. And that sense has shifted. Now it's almost like people are so afraid of offending anybody that the salesperson, the sales representative, basically does whatever they ask, and it's an unfair interaction, if you will. So by using request and promise, you can cut right to the chase. Okay, so a sale is made when you make a request. They go, yes, I promise I will, or no, I promise I won't, or a counteroffer. Anything past that is in the realm of assertion and declaration. So if I make a presentation to somebody and they go, wow, that's a really nice product, or that looks like that could work for us, that is an assertion or a declaration. It does not close that loop of communication down. Okay, now for request and promise to work, this is a little bit odd, so bear with me on this one. Yes and no have to be equal to you, equal in value. In other words, you cannot prefer a yes over a no. Otherwise, we're getting back to that sort of control and that manipulation. you don't believe me, I mean, if you're a guy and you just were desperate to meet a girl and you go to a bar and you're desperate to meet her, I mean, you don't have much success with that, right? So you really have to be what I call in neutral when you make your request. And neutral is, it's okay if they say yes, it's okay if they say no. Now, an interesting thing, we as human beings are wired to, for the most part, go polar or opposite of what we feel like is the other person wants us to do, or at least to consider it, okay? So remember I talked about that 93% of the communication that's nonverbal. So if I'm holding a preference that I really want you to buy this or do this, you pick up on that at an unconscious or subconscious level. Now you can do one or two things. Either I'm going to overpower you, in which case you make a purchase that you may or may not be happy with, right? Or you're going to go opposite me. So I'll give you an example of this. I took a sales course once where the objective was to get whoever got the most no's the quickest won. And we were calling people up on the phone. You can make up whatever spiel you wanted to make. The deal was whoever got the most no's, I think it was 50 no's first, was the winner. And let me tell you something, when you're trying to get no from somebody, it's damn near impossible. I'd call people up and go, hey, you know, this is Eric Stromquist. I'm a convicted felon and I am selling property in Florida. Would you like to buy some? Well, let me think about it. Tell me more about it. It's really peculiar. So I will say that request is very interesting. You have to be in neutral. Yes and no have to be equal. Your job as a salesperson is to help people make good decisions, okay? And at some point in time, you have to make the request. And as a teacher of mine once said, when the going gets tough, you get what you practice. Most of us are so uncomfortable asking or making a request for somebody to do something that we do everything to avoid it. Wouldn't it be nice if you tried this in your plant? Is not a request. It's a request for information about whether they would like it or not. So I request you buy this product today. And I always like to have them feel good about it because most people don't sort for feeling good about it. So when the going gets tough, you get what you practice. So a couple of things you can practice right off the bat to get comfortable with this. One of them is at our company, we would go out and we'd have to sell stuff. I mean, go up to complete strangers. Hi, my name is Eric. I request you buy, and we would use pens or pencils or whatever. I request you buy this pencil for 5 cents now. And if you go there and you're neutral, yes and no are equal, you will be surprised. People will say, well, I don't need a pencil. Well, that's an assertion or declaration about their needs. Try to get somebody to just give you a yes or a no. Once a yes or no has been established or a counteroffer, a sale has been made. That's to celebrate. So you might think no is not as good as yes, but think about all the time you waste with people that have you send them quotes or do this and that, and they never really were interested. They don't get to discover whether they want to buy the product or not. I say that allowing people to say no without you having anything about it is a gift to people. As a matter of fact, when I go in and meet a client for the first time, one of the first things we do is sort of establish some ground rules. And one of those ground rules is if I make a request of you and it doesn't make sense or you don't want to do it, just tell me no. You don't have to give me any reason, any justification at all. Remember what I was saying before about, we tend to go polar? Guess what happens with that? Most of the time, they will give me the reasons without me even asking. But more importantly than that, I don't waste their time. They don't waste my time. So at any point in a sales cycle, you have to make a request, okay? Now, the going gets tough, you get what you practice. I encourage you to go out and make a request, sell something where it doesn't matter, practice where it doesn't matter. The other thing that works really, really well to get comfortable making requests is make ridiculous requests. Go out and make 5 or 10 absolute ridiculous requests. Go through the toll booth and say, I request you let me go through free for now. Go to dinner, run up a big tab and say, hey, I request you give me the dinner for free now. And when they say no, reward them. Thank you. They say no, or they say I can't do that. You can just say is it a yes or is it a no. I can't do that as an assertion or declaration about what they can or can't do. It does not close that loop of communication down. So to give you an example, my salespeople, when they're in a rut or whatever, one of the first questions I ask them is what request have you been making lately? What have you been practicing? So one of my guys was a big Waffle House guy. He loved Waffle House. It was his favorite restaurant. So I went up to meet him in Dalton, Georgia. He was kind of having a tough time. We sat down to talk about things. I said, Dave, what requests are you making of people? Well, I really don't have time to practice. I hadn't had time to practice. I said, David, you can practice anytime, anywhere. Now, Waffle House in Dalton, Georgia, full of people. I raise my hand. I call the waitress over. She comes over and I say, hey, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for him. I request that you give him a frequent flyer rewards card and give him some punches and give me one too, because I wouldn't be here without him. And she goes, well, we really don't do that. And I said, well, you can say yes or you can say no. It's okay either way. I'm kind of playing with it. Of course, everybody in the restaurant has stopped to listen to this interaction. And she goes, well, okay, no, I can't. And then she goes off. And about 15 or 20 minutes later, she comes back and she goes, sir, I called my regional manager. Even though we don't do that, I've got all these free coupons that get you coffee and waffles and stuff like that, which she presented to us, right? So it was a game. When you practice, have fun with it. Light people up. You give people a gift, if they can say yes to you or no to you without you biasing the situation. So again, practice, practice, practice. Of course, when we're leaving the parking lot, I looked at my sales guy, I said, well, is this communication complete? She goes, yeah, you made a request, you fulfilled the request, and we said, thank you. I said, it was not quite complete. She went over and above. I had pulled out a comment card. I said, I request you fill this comment card out now and send it in, because she did a great job for you. So I know this might sound, simple or maybe even a little foolish, but I promise you, if you can get in the habit of hearing request, making request, and being in neutral when you make the request, it will change your game completely. Because when you can make a request and it's okay for somebody to say no to you, you can make any request possible. Hey, I request all you in the audience that are listening, send in a $1,000 check today to Control Trends, okay? So have fun with it. If you like this, reach out in comments. We can get to the nonverbal communication part of it. If you guys are interested, I'll do another video. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to check out Control Talk Now, your smart building. Oh, hang on. I request you check out Control Talk Now, your smart buildings videocast and podcast now. All right, remember, be bold, stay in control, stay relevant, and make lots of requests.